Our first trip to Yellowstone was 2012. My sixth, rangers were herding bison down the Grand Loop Highway. The buffalo were so boxed in, some of them rubbed against our car. It was a grand traffic jam, Yellowstone tradition. The first day we hiked the Lone Star Geyser 6 miles. We had it to ourselves, nobody else. Next morning we climbed Mount Washburn at Dunraven Pass. Trekking poles were lifesavers. I just thought it would be easy, but we didn't realize we'd taken the wrong trail. Ice and snow covered much of the trail, still in late June. The safe trail was clear, but the views, wow. We looked out over the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. A coyote followed us up most of the way on the mountain. Jeremy was exhilarated, I was exhausted. Just when I thought we'd reached the top, I threw up my poles in delight. The look out at the top looked so close, but was so far away. 10,243 feet, Mount Washburn. I wanted to take our picture here, but Jeremy had already taken off back down. Somehow going down was easier than climbing up. Next day we visited Norris Geyser Basin, my favorite. Not crowded, very interesting. One of the falls along the Grand Loop Highway near Madison Junction. And the next picture, I'm sitting in front of the Old Faithful Inn built in 1904 thanks to Teddy Roosevelt. You see lots of more Yellowstone on trails. This is Observation Trail above Old Faithful. Jeremy had a thermal pool. You don't want to take a bath here. Besides being scalded, acid would eat you alive. Walkways are all over Yellowstone next to geysers. After all, Yellowstone is an active supervolcano, #1 in the world. Firehole River, hundreds of geysers and pools line it. This geezer's favorite, Castle Geyser, not going off at the time. Back at Old Faithful Inn, an American icon, stayed here in 2009. $370 a night, but primitive, no TV, no wireless. The inn had rockers everywhere around huge stone fireplaces. Here we are at Old Faithful. Can't see the geyser for the people in tourist season. Artist Point at Lower Falls of the Yellowstone. I know it looks too good to be real, but it is. Here we are at Undine Falls on the way back to Gardner, Montana, where we were staying. Jeremy got sunburnt that day. Temperature is cool, but the sun's the same. You really get sunburned at Yellowstone. It's up higher elevation. Next day at Grand Charismatic Spring, amazing colors. We hiked up to Fairy Falls, about 7 miles. The falls were 197 feet tall. Benches were arranged for visitors to sit and view. Hiking the park is much better than being herded with tourists. Not many actually exert the energy to hike, which is a plus. Nobody likes to exercise, I guess. More danger of encountering bears here than obnoxious tourists. Back to Prismatic Spring, Grand Prismatic. Notice the blues, pinks, and oranges. We forget Yellowstone is a giant volcano with a caldera 35 miles by 50 miles. A geyser performed for us near Grand Prismatic. Here's the old geezer enjoying a geyser. See, you don't have to be around the crowd to enjoy the park. Jeremy inspecting what they call a thermal feature here. A thermal feature. The orange is a collection of thermophilic bacteria which loves 158 degrees to 170 degree temperatures. Mother Earth's aroma is no better than smelling her own. Trust me. Here I am in the walkway of tourists, sometimes necessary. At Yellowstone Lake, largest alpine lake in the U.S., 7,733 feet above sea level. Notice the white-capped mountains behind? They circle Yellowstone. It's a volcano, Einstein. This trail is near Fisherman's Bridge on Lake Yellowstone. Lots of mosquitoes and bears. Loved watching these guys on top of their RV looking at grizzlies at Hayden Valley. We were looking at the same grizzlies, so I turned around and saw them. Upper Falls of Yellowstone. It's smaller than the lower. How much water gushes down these falls? I don't know. But it still looks refreshing. You can smell the mist coming off the rapids. I wasn't tempted to jump, by the way. You see the lava rock there by the falls. How many millions of gallons go every day? Buffalo time. We met him alone while hiking. We weren't in the car. Famous entrance to the park, Roosevelt Arch, in honor of Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy hiked Yellowstone for several days at a time, sneaking away from his bodyguards. They'd lose him for 2 weeks at a time, is what they said. Notice the yellow rock in the canyon wall? That's how Yellowstone got its name. Trails are the best way to see Yellowstone. At least you can see something besides bodies, the humankind anyway. We were beginning our descent down Uncle Tom's Trail. Guess where our picture takers were from? Here we are at the bottom of the lower falls, mist and rainbows everywhere. Yes, old men can make it too. Eureka! Here's the falls, close up. I'm happy because I'm going down. Wasn't so happy going up 450 stairs. The trails were so close we could smell them. The falls were so close. The trails. More kind agents took our pictures. They're good at it. Staring to save a mental picture. Up we go. We climbed 4 sets of stairs, 400 each. That day they equaled the Empire State Building. Bears at the park. Notice the canyon's colors? That's mostly iron rusted by tiny geothermal volcanic fissures steaming the rocks. Artist's Point, lots of tourists here for good reason. A British lady volunteered to take our picture that day. We had a good laugh with her. Mission accomplished. And here's Jeremy out on a bluff to scare his mom. Colorful canyon below. We hiked a lonely trail behind Artist's Point, discovered the mud pots, geysers. Nobody there to keep us away from closer inspection. This lake is full of bubbling hot volcanic water. It's beautiful. Meadows were full of flowers and bison. We were alone to see it all. Nobody there. Even in summer, temperatures are decent at Yellowstone. There's more meadow. Wildflowers are everywhere. Just think, there's 50 foot of snow covering this area in the winter. And here's the edge of the lower falls. Look how clear the water is. You recognize me in the crowd? I'm the one waving. You see me? Here's a rainbow over the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. You can't see it, but little pockets of steam were shooting out of the walls. Yellowstone is not too crowded because of its size. By road, 100 miles by 100 miles, equal to 2 states. Jeremy at the falls. Here's my favorite view, unobstructed by humans. Notice the pockets of snow that never melt. Wind was about to blow my hat off, so I took it off. Here's that rickety wooden steps down to the river. I felt safer on the metal ones. We made it down and up all the staircases that day, Canyon Day. Mr. Yellowstone number 2, and who's number 1? Took enough pictures of the falls. 1,950 pictures of Yellowstones that day, that week. Snowpack on the left stays here all year. Falls freeze over in the winter. Narrow trail hugging the canyon. I think I'm wider than the trail, you think? At last, inspiration point. It was inspiring to finally be done for that day. I was worn out. The canyon is just as awesome as the geysers. See, it's not too crowded when exercise is involved. Lonely trails. Even for the old man, Grizzly Adams. This is Grizzly the sequel. Here are the moose and the elk on the lawns of Mammoth Spring, Yellowstone headquarters. Right there in town, they just sit around like pets. Next morning, a big buffalo refused to budge off the highway. I don't know how long we had to ride his ass. Here we are at Biscuit Basin. We hiked up to Mystic Falls near Biscuit Basin. It was our last Yellowstone day. I hated leaving. Here's a river coming out of Mystic Falls. And here's Mystic Falls, 70 foot tall. Hiking trails are the best way to see the park. Flowers, flowers, flowers everywhere. Here's Sapphire Pool, I think. Morning glory is faded due to pollution, but others remain untouched and beautiful. On our way out of Yellowstone now, going to the Grand Tetons.